Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go 3 abreast. It is showtime at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them for a breath. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime! Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again. It is MRN Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. We are so glad you joined us talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. Erin, Evan, and Steve Post. I heard Brian Herbert on that opening there. He's the voice of Lucas Oil ASCS.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going Thursday night.
Are you?
Oh, I'm so pumped up. Lakeside Speedway.
I'm envious.
We're watching the weather. We're watching the weather, which
Everyone's
is 2017.
watching the weather right
But
now.
I am fired up because I hope by the next time we sit down here, I'll have seen some sprint car racing this weekend. Love what's going on there. We'll talk about that along the way here. But we have a great program. We are going to talk to Donny Schatz. Of course, he's back after his April off.
Yeah.
Picked up both wins of the World of Outlaws. And we're going to touch base with Tim Clauson. So much going on with Brian and, with his memory, with what's going on in Indianapolis with an announcement they made this morning, but also with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting that win and how close Ricky and Brian were. I just wanted to touch base with Tim. I don't know that, I can't imagine what it's like to be Tim this time. But Sunday afternoon had to be pretty special for him watching Stenhouse wheel that car to win. So
Yeah, I actually texted with him a bit after the race. Good friend of mine, and he said it was one of the most emotional days he's had since we lost Brian.
I can imagine.
But it was a good emotion.
Good emotion.
For the first time, the tears were happy tears.
That is really cool to hear and great. And we'll talk to Tim Clauson in just a little bit. Let's get to it. The Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery Hot Topics. And, well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the hot topic. I have so much respect for Ricky, the way he handles himself, the way he tends to his business, the way he had the arrangement with Jason Johnson, and ultimately that didn't work out for both parties when they were running ASCS, but yet his passion for it came back in with Matt Wood and put together the team for Joey this year. Just so cool to see him roll to the win.
It was really neat to see him roll the win. I've known Ricky, I think I raced against him in sprint cars when he was only 15 or 16. But I was talking to Ray about it. We had Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, these guys that came from open wheel racing, Ryan Newman, but they were pavement. Now we've got Kyle Larson and we've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and they're dirt sprint car racers.
And they're still dirt sprint car racers.
Exactly.
One of the things Tim Clauson tweeted is Stenhouse was in Victory Lane in the media center wondering who was winning at Bloomington, I think it was. So, and that's the beauty of it is, and I know it's been funny, Danica has talked about it. There's times when Ricky or Tony or Casey or Kyle, they get together in Ricky's motor coach and they have a big Dirt Vision party. And Danica's like, okay, she's just standing there.
She's asked me before. She's like, are you part of that cult? Like
cult.
that weird
She calls it a cult.
Yeah. I'm like, well, it turns out.
Yeah, and Stenhouse is right part of it.
Yep,
He is right part of it. His passion for it. See him in the garage area, that's all he wants to talk about is sprint car racing. And but you do like to see him go do it on his day job.
Yeah.
And that was a big win for him for Roush Fenway Racing.
And he earned it.
He did. He really
job.
did. And the reaction of the sprint car community was really cool, too. When you have Donny Schatz saying, I rarely cheer for a race, cheer at the end of the race, when you have Schatz screaming at his television, that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
That speaks well for everything. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr., one of the big hot topics, Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery hot topics. This one came out, I think, last night. Linton Jeffries tweeted that he has a teammate at Knoxville.
Yeah.
The crowd pleaser is back. How about that? Craig's been running a couple of IRA races, and he ran a 360 race. But he is full-blown in, teammates with Linton Jeffrey, fast race car. So the crowd pleaser's back at Knoxville. That's good.
That's a really good combination because Linton always has very strong cars at Knoxville, and Craig is great at Knoxville. So the combination could be very interesting.
Just what they need, another fast car. I don't know, you had talked about, I watched the Cushions recap of Saturday night's race. Oh my gosh, the racing at Knoxville has been phenomenal. Throw the crowd pleaser in the middle of it. Well, I don't know where he's going to be because there's no room anyhow, but it is great. So good to have Craig Delansky back running in Knoxville. As I said, he's ran a few times this year, but good to have him in Linton's second car there. The other hot topic Saturday night was Danny Dietrich on Twitter. It's interesting that all of central Pennsylvania got rained out until Sunday night, and yet all of the conversation on social media was about Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's just
You had everyone talking.
well, Danny really got a hold of about everybody. He took, let's see, if you're a Raymer,
Kreitz.
if you're a Kreitz, if you're a Deweese, if you're a Monteith, and poor old Greg Hodnett's probably sitting there minding his own business, and he even got a shot in. So Danny Dietrich on Twitter. I don't know if we need more rain delays. I know we don't need more rainouts, but rainouts are certainly entertaining when
Yes.
Danny Dietrich is around. So
Yeah, absolutely.
a lot of conversation with that, and it continues on. And the other hot topic is Donny Schatz, 2 for 2 this weekend, and we will talk to Donny in just a moment. So it's kind of like last week on the show, you and I were like, what's going on here with
happened to
Donny?
him? Yeah, he's only finishing like 5th and 6th.
I know.
Yeah.
Now, well, he
And
took
I
care of
love
that.
how he said in one of his interviews, he basically, they took April off. Like, yeah, thank God April's gone. We're into May. Thank goodness.
Yeah, well, wait till they get to July and August.
Oh,
That's
boy.
what.
Yeah, that's
I know there's a bunch of teams hoping they take one of those months off, the month of money. So I doubt they will, though. So, so let's do that. That is wraps up the Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery Hot Topics. Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery, your source for all hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, towels, and a whole lot more. Find out why drivers like Donny Schatz and Brian Brown choose Classic Ink. You can too. Find out more at www.classicinkusa.com. Stay with us. Donny Schatz joins us next.
Hi, I'm Dale Blaney, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Classic Ink USA Screen Printing and Embroidery is constantly testing the limits of custom racewear and specialized embroidery. Headquartered in Western Pennsylvania, Classic Ink holds the highest standard, maximizing your return as well as the ultimate customer satisfaction. From track swag fanwear to quick crew wear, Classic Ink has you covered. Their dedicated staff and designers will keep your race team and fans looking sharp. Contact Classic Ink today and get your team ahead of the competition. www.classicinkusa.com. That's Classic Ink, at the track and on your back.
Today, Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Carrie, Queen of Cakes.
So, Carrie, why do they call you Queen of Cakes?
Well, whenever Toyota wins a NASCAR race, I make a life-size Camry cake.
Really?
Yeah, delicious and made in America, just like the dang car. And with all Toyota's wins last year, it was life-size Camry Cake City. Oh, even lost a kid at one point. Tried to drive one of the cakes. Had to eat his way out of the drivetrain. Bless his heart. Let's go NASCAR fans!
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit ToyotaRacing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc. Toyota vehicles and components are built using U.S. and globally sourced parts.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon, and now back to Wing Nation.
Welcome back. It is MRN Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. So glad you joined us. Let's go to the hotline. Joining us fresh from Victory Lane as he swept the weekend. Friday night at Sedalia, Saturday night at 81 Speedway in Kansas. 7th and 8th wins of the year. On the line, Donny Schatz. Hello, Donny. Welcome back.
How you doing, guys?
We are doing well. What did you do? You flipped the calendar to May and decided to go back racing again? Had to be good to get back to Victory Lane.
Absolutely. I didn't realize it had been that long, but April hasn't really ever been a stellar month for me, so glad to have a great weekend and get back on track.
Donny, I saw that the Missouri State Fair is where you ran your very first Outlaw show in 1993. A, did you ever think that you would come as far as you have and be as successful as you've been? And B, what was it like to be back there and win there again, knowing it's where you got your start?
It is a pretty special place there. Not a lot of people probably know that was the first time I was actually at a race. And I remember being there that night. I was parked next to Danny Young, who was a very, very dominant 360 racer, and he lost his life at Knoxville several years ago. But it was very intimidating parking next to a guy like him. They were very fiery people and very passionate about what they do. So, it was a real eye-opener that first night to see a great big racetrack. It's flat, and, we had some guys from North Dakota that were there that I looked up to. So it's been a long journey. You can never put into words or an imagination having, a career, how great it's been for me. But you just, you you get asked a million times a year, you know, do you have any advice for young guys? And there is. You just can't expect it to come too fast. I mean, I spent 10 or 15 years, you know, sticking with it and staying at it before I was able to, you know, get myself in a good spot. So, you know, it's not something that comes easy, and I think that's the generation of today is things can't come easy enough for them.
15-year overnight success. How about that? That's pretty stout. Pretty stout. Let's talk a little bit about where you've been at this season with the World of Outlaws, because we've kind of had some fun and joked around about April, and you've said historically it's not been. But is there something you can pinpoint that was the issue this time? I mean, and it's not like you were not qualifying for races, but not winning races. Was there something you guys were trying, or was it just not working out at that point?
Well, we had, you know, when you get a race car that is exceptionally well, and you keep running it, I guess you expect bad things to happen. And we got to Placerville, and we had a motor problem qualifying, which put us behind the 8 ball. And until halfway through the feature, the racetrack wasn't really conducive to being able to move around a whole bunch, and we ended up wrecking that car that I was in love with, and it just kind of snowballed from there. You know, we raced the next several nights on rubber down surfaces where you know, we had some good finishes, but you just couldn't make anything happen. And you know, a little bit of rain here and there, so there was a lot of things that you know, kind of come about, and there was guys that were making things happen elsewhere. It just wasn't us at that time, and that's all part of the game. So Rick, Scuba, and Brad have made sure when they got back to the shop after leaving the West Coast, they got back to doing things that were kind of standard for this team, and get their eye back on the ball and just get back after it. So, you know, glad those guys were able to get home and get their batteries recharged and get some fresh equipment put back together, because we definitely have tore up a fair amount of stuff.
Donny, you mentioned in Victory Lane over the weekend that you were trying a lot of new, quote-unquote, funky things and weird pieces for on the race car. So, of course, that piqued my interest, and I know you're not going to tell me exactly what you were working on, but what are some of the areas that you focus on? Is it aero? Is it engine package? Is it shocks? Is it all of the above?
Well, obviously, all of the above is probably the best answer to describe it, but there are a lot of things in the suspension. We've been running a coil spring on the right rear, some stuff that correlates from the late model world, and you know, that's what was on the car both nights last weekend when we won at Sedalia and Wichita. So, you know, it's just different things that you have to stay on top of. You know, obviously we have a little bit of an adaptation. We're going to have to do it later in the year with transitioning to some Ford horsepower. So we've worked with some changing some of the other stuff that we have up to make it similar, to see if it's going to give us a head start. So there's a lot of things. You know, Rick's always eats, sleeps, and drinks his motors, and you know, he's still working hard on trying to make things as good as he can. And you know, there's always this. The last several years, I've heard these people say you do all these things to make your motors drivable, and we've got a very good luxury with Ron Shaver out on the West Coast, and Damian Gardner, who's very close with Ron and Ricky, and Damian does all of our chassis dyno testing, and he's very smart and very good at what he does, and you know, being a non-wing racer, he knows how to get the power to the ground. But it seems like lately everything they've done is just more power, and it just seems to be better off for us right now. So hopefully it stays on that track.
Indeed. Well, you get right back at it this weekend. A couple of nights at Eldora, and then Erin, I was just talking, the schedule just gets brutal for 2 weeks after that. My God, you're running about every other day, it seems like, or every day in many cases. Eldora, how are things looking for this weekend there for you at the Boss Man's place?
Looking good. Obviously, we have to bring out our new race car, because the race car from Saturday night didn't quite fare too well. That'd be I think the first time I've ever been able to win a race and say the frame was wrecked when it was over. So guys have their work cut out trying to get another frame put together, and you know, they have plenty of stuff prepared and ready. So looking forward to getting to Eldora hopefully Mother Nature can be a race fan and let us get 2 straight nights of racing in there.
How about that? That'd be nice for you guys and really for everyone else across the country. We don't need any more nights of Danny Dietrich on Twitter or other rainouts. You know how that is.
What's wrong with Danny Dietrich on Twitter? I like that.
I could tell you liked it. I loved it too. I thought that was fantastic. And you're sitting over there in the Midwest just lobbing snowballs over it, keeping them going. I saw what you were doing there. I was just looking forward to maybe one of them rainouts. We can have another sing-along because we do have a good time when we get together. No doubt. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. That's for sure. Donnie, always a pleasure. Congratulations on the wins along the way this weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. There he is, Donny Schatz, singing along with Danny Dietrich. I've seen Donny Schatz do karaoke.
I want to see that on Twitter.
I've seen Donny Schatz do karaoke, and he's pretty good at it.
He's
pretty good at it, yeah. I bet he's better than Dietrich in karaoke.
Oh, but here you go.
I bet he is better than Dietrich in karaoke.
You're stirring the pot right now.
No. I'm just saying Donnie is good at karaoke. Yeah. I bet he's better than Danny Dietrich at karaoke.
Oh, here we go.
Well, let's step away. When we come back, Tim Clauson. He joins us next.
Hi, I'm Craig Kinzer, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum's newest feature exhibit is our Salute to Champion Sammy Swindell, June 9th through October 15th, at the only museum in the world solely dedicated to sprint car racing, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa. Stop in and check out 8 of Sammy's original race cars and see his trophies, uniforms, and more as you learn about his outstanding career. The Salute to Champion Sammy Swindell is only this season at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
For over 50 years, drivers in sprint car, midget, micro, modified, and even dirt late model have taken the checkered flag on Weld Racing Wheels. Legendary drivers like Joe Saldana, Carl, Mark, and Steve Kinzer, Doug Wolfgang, and countless other racers have trusted Weld Racing Wheels for their superior strength and lightweight construction to finish ahead of the competition. With 50 years of race-winning engineering and technology, American-made Weld Racing Wheels are designed and built to withstand virtually any abuse you throw at them. Weld Racing. Proven speed.
Hey, this is Dylan Hart Jr., and I know the importance of communication. So when it came to selecting equipment for my team, I chose Racing Electronics.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win! Oh, yeah!
And so should you. With Racing Electronics, you can listen to all the raw, unfiltered, heat-of-the-moment communication between drivers and the crews.
I love you, man. Thank
enhancing your experience.
Unbelievable!
And putting you right in the middle of the action. Go to racingelectronics.com to rent a scanner or FanVision, or see Racing Electronics and FanVision trackside at every NASCAR race.
Hi, I'm Rico Aber, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Welcome back. It is MRN Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Erin Evernham and Steve Post here. And joining us now on the hotline, I'm a guy that I cannot imagine the emotions of the last few days, or the last 10 months, if you will. But Tim Clauson is on the line. Hello, Tim. Welcome into Wing Nation.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Tim, this weekend, how do you put your arms around this weekend? Of course, you know, Brian, one of his best friends, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Ricky getting that win at Talladega. Of course, a lot of attention to the Driven to Save Lives Foundation, and of course, Ricky Stenhouse winning the race. What was that like for you, sitting on the sidelines watching that?
It was pretty incredible. You know, we were actually racing our midgets in Kokomo Sunday night, and so you know we didn't get to watch it live. But I mean, you know, my wife's watching the social media and what's going on, and Lauren was there, and I you know I kind of yelled out the back of the trailer. She's like, I think Ricky won. And then of course it was almost immediate. The texts and phone calls started pouring in, and you know it was probably not probably it was you know we've shed a lot of tears since August 7th of 2016, and but for the first time it was actually tears of joy, and you know to know what Ricky and Brian's relationship was. You know, they always said they were best friends, but they were really, really more than that. And to see Ricky, you know, finally get that first winning cup, which I know will be first of many. But then, you know, and then of course his first thought was Brian getting out of the car, and you know, I think he had said something to the effect that you know Brian was with him that last lap, and I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Tim, speaking of the Driven to Save Lives program, I know that Ricky made his charity donation from his pole award to the Driven to Save Lives before he even made it to Victory Lane this past weekend. But tell us, for our listeners, a little bit more about the program and your big announcement this morning at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's really been quite a couple days. Really, the Driven to Save Lives program or campaign started last year with Stephen Wilson and his entry into the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. And I think we all know that Justin Wilson, who was killed in an accident at Pocono, was an organ donor. And Stephen wanted to do something to honor his brother. And that was really kind of the start of the Driven to Save Lives campaign. And we kind of get back from Nebraska and Knoxville and all that went on, and we decided that we really wanted to see what we could do to not so much help or honor Brian, but we wanted to do something where we could stay involved and really push a message from the donor family side on organ donation and transplantation. And so we met with Indiana Donor Network, and they were looking for a way to continue Driven to Save Lives. It was very successful last year, and one of the things that kind of caught their eyes was the just massive amount of registration that was able to be generated from what was our Chasing 200 and then Chasing 500 registrants following Brian's passing. And you got to understand that a big campaign for them pre that was, if they had 150, that was huge. And at the time we had met with Indiana Donor Network, I think we were over 3,000 or 4,000. And they said, how does this happen? And how does this happen? And we got to speak of our racing community and what our racing family as it is. And the outreach that we had from that and how it just kept growing and growing, and people really saw it as a way to honor, Brian and what he had given to the sport. So we were able to, so we sat down and talked about that. We were able to fashion a campaign that really didn't just encompass the Indy 500, but we wanted something more grassroots and something that really spoke to who Brian was and what his racing style was and his lifestyle really. So we thought about, how do we get to every big short track race? And as we talked about it, it really, the irony started setting in how this is exactly how Brian scheduled his 200 race schedule for last year. And that was to be simply at every big event in short track racing, whether wing, non-wing, midgets, it didn't matter. The piece we thought might be missing, was going to be the Indianapolis 500, and so to get to make that announcement this morning in a garage that they use for the Cup cars during the Brickyard, but they're actually giving us our own garage to work out of. That's going to be branded with the Driven to Save Lives, and it's going to not only honor Brian, but also Justin Wilson, and we got to showcase that this morning, and I'll tell you, it was really cool, really cool.
Amazing, absolutely amazing how from the depths of a terrible tragedy, so much has come out of it with the racing family rallying around the cause, rallying around you guys, rallying around Lauren, rallying around your family and everything. It is absolutely amazing. And Tim, we honor and salute you for your continued effort. I saw pictures on Twitter. You're at a 4th grade school talking about the program as well. And it's good to hear that there was a good day on Sunday for racetrack memories with what Ricky did for you. So we appreciate your time, continued success with the program. And I know we'll talk to you down the road, but we appreciate your time here today on Wing Nation.
Hey, sounds great. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
There we go. That's Tim Clauson joining us here on the program. As we followed Brian along his journey of 200 races last year, we talked about it, and you talked a lot because you were really close to the family. Yeah. Everyone that knew Tim Clauson just from one meeting or multiple meetings were like, man, this is a quality guy, quality family. Brian gets it honest. You really shared with me as we went through last year with Brian going through the races.
Yeah.
Man, this is Tim. Tim is such a cool guy. And then obviously August 7th, when we lost Brian, and then we really have had a lot of chance to talk, and then just listening to Tim talk there, my gosh, I mean, nobody would want to go through what they're going through, but talk about taking a terrible situation and turning it into something that has just blossomed into a beautiful thing. That's what Tim has done, and everyone in the family has done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely amazing. So again, it's Driven to Save Lives. You can just Google it. They're on Twitter. They're on all social media platforms, and register. It's organ, tissue, and eye donations. And when you look at the number of lives that Brian saved with his donations, I actually got to touch his heart, the guy that the heart, I couldn't even imagine that.
I just got goosebumps.
That makes all of this sprint car racing and everything we do seem so minor. So make sure you check that out, and make sure you register and get yourself so that if the unfortunate were to happen to you, it could turn into a good story, as is the life and passing of Brian Clauson did. Let's step away. We got more MRN Wing Nation coming up in just a moment.
I'm Danny Holkraver, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The crown jewel of the Northwest, $15,000 to win, $1,000 to start. It's the 46th annual Jim Raper Memorial Dirt Cup presented by the Skagit Casino and Resort, June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th at Skagit Speedway. The Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series National Tour takes on the best of the Northwest as Haverty, Herrera, and Bergman lead the charge, along with Northwest Focus Midgets and the Washington Modified Touring Series. Tickets on sale now at SkagitSpeedway.com or by calling 360-724-3567.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Country 500 Music Festival is back with Blake Shelton, Miranda Lambert,
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
Kid Rock, Keith Urban, Thomas Rhett, plus Brooks and Dunn, Hank Williams Jr., Jake Owen, and so much more. Memorial Day weekend at Daytona International Speedway. Single-day tickets on sale now. Visit Country500.com. Sponsored in part by Budweiser.
Hi, I'm Dale Blaney, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Thank you, Dale. Welcome back. It is MRN Wing Nation, and each week here on the program, we like to talk about one of our favorite places, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. We talk about birthdays. Sunday would have been the birthday of Dave Steele, so I know that that was a recent passing from the crash down in Florida, and I'm sure Sunday for the Steele family, a pretty rough day as they remember Dave. Monday, the birthday, A.J. Watson, Justin Henderson's birthday on Monday, Art Bush, Johnny Cannon, Granville Buster Warkey on Thursday, Laverne Nance, Robbie Wolfgang on Friday, and Walt James on Saturday. A.J. Watson, real quick here, a 1993 inductee, a native of Southern California. And boy, I'm telling you what, if you ran Indy cars in the 50s and early 60s, you wanted one of those Watson Roadsters. 6 times those cars won the Indianapolis 500. The front-engine Watson Roadster. When they went to rear-engine cars, A.J. Watson never could get his arms around that as well. He was always there and always part of it, and he passed in 2014 at 90 years old. His story and so many more are commemorated at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, which is having a major addition. We just had Tim Clauson on, and boy, this is exciting what's going on.
Yeah, we have plans and everything in place to build a new suite tower, and it's going to be named in honor of Brian Clauson. And we're about halfway to our funding, and there's a page, if you go to the sprintcarhof.com, there's a page you can make donations, but it's going to happen. We're hoping to have it done, or I should say started by the beginning of next year.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yep.
So a new tower of suites, and a new tower of suites there in the right next to toward the backstretch from the existing
the renderings have right on the top, Brian Clauson Suite Towers.
Brian Clauson Suite Towers. How about that? So folks, go to sprintcarhof.com for the latest sprint car news. Hey, go to the souvenir stand and go contribute to the new suites that they're building in the honor of Brian Clauson. Jackson, we can't wait to get up there in a few weeks. They open their sprint car season this Saturday or this Friday night. So I think they're the last ones.
Yeah.
Well, Badlands is Saturday night, but of course you're in Minnesota, so I understand that. But Jackson opens up. Can't wait to mention this earlier. Thursday night, I'm going to Lakeside Speedway for the McCarthy Auto Group KC Classic, Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. One of my favorite things, Erin, is the IB Racing. Brad Brown, just a great guy. Yeah. We look at the win count, and we're at that stage of the season where it's interesting now. Donny Schatz has 11, 8 with the Outlaws, 3 other the All-Stars. David Gravel has 8 wins. 5-time winners, Sam Haferteep and Morgan Turpin. We've talked to both of those over the last few years. 4-time winners, Jeb Sessoms is a 305 racer from Texas. Paul Weaver, a 305 racer from Ohio. And Lance DeWeese. So love getting into the win totals along the way. Hey, thanks to Donny Schatz and Tim Clauson for joining us here today on MRN Wing Nation.
You've been listening to Winged Nation, presented by Hercules Tire, right on our strength. You can also find Winged Nation on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and in the MRN.com Media Center. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.